you're one of our haters who are out there watching.
I want to warn people about hypnoporn.
We need to stay meta.
Stop that.
Need new tires? Like what?
If Jim would shut up for a second.
Oh, high fidelity.
Okay, don't tell me to shut up.
I'm not whining.
I eat doggies. I eat doggies. Feels like a party.
Stop that. It's a war. They have made it so that I cannot be celebrating July 4th.
I don't care. I'm gonna lie, I'm not gonna pretend. I don't care. How do I think? That's what I think. I don't care.
This is 6 Degrees of Stew. You don't need to stay meta, but I'm glad you're here.
I just felt like I wanted to make a confession, if I can. I've been noticing, since this has turned into like a therapy session, I've noticed that I still have one of the same traits that I did as a conspiracy theorist, where
And that is?
something that I'm obsessed with, I can't do anything without someone bringing it up, and I want to work on stopping it, because like every time I'm at the checkout at the grocery store, like I have to somehow bring the evils of capitalism into it, and I'm like, I still sound like, so this is something, I don't know why I'm confessing this publicly, it just makes me feel better, and I need to vocalize it, but this is something that I want to work on, just because it's like a left-wing ideology that I focus on now, and it's based in reality.
I think sometimes
doesn't mean that
when you
everybody wants to
vocalize things
fucking
out
hear my
loud,
opinions
you
on
can
every
put it
goddamn
into
thing.
the ether, like into
And
the world, the universe, I guess.
need to just learn how to shut up. So that's just what I wanted to
I think
say.
sometimes you can put it out there, though, and it makes you feel better acknowledging that you're doing something. Like out there and being like, hey, this is something I feel like I want to work on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for me, like saying that something like that, like even publicly on a stream, you know, it doesn't bother me, because like I just feel like I don't know, I just feel like I need to admit when I'm fucking up, even if other, like Lenny never knew that I believe Sandy Hook was fake, you know, like
Yeah.
there's no like real need for me to apologize, but it was just something I wanted to do. So for me, just admitting these like little confessions, it's something that I kind of need to do. And thank you all for listening to how stupid I am.
You're not. No, and I've caught myself different times, like I don't always have to rail about something, like if something would come up, like the Trump administration or something, like immediately I'd be like, okay, not today. Like I'm going to get going. You know what I mean? Like take it down a little bit. I've caught myself in different instances.
Yeah.
It happens. Okay. Do you guys want to start with Squatch, or do you want to start with the new lady? It's like an hour-long interview where she is a starseed that she discovered she made contact during the pandemic and aliens. She like quits her job. She explains some stuff in this. I briefly watched it. It's interesting because she's really young and came into this kind of thing during the pandemic, which is kind of a world into conspiratorial thinking and QAnon and what people were doing then. Or we could watch Solomon Berg, the rest of that first, and then her later. Either or I'm fine with.
Can we do the Solomon first, just in case I end up crapping out? If
Sure
that's
thing.
okay. If not, you could do whatever you want. I was just suggesting.
Nope, we'll do some Solomon Berg. Let's get some squatching. Let's have some fun.
Because Steph is a greedy bitch.
Let's have some fun with Squatch. We need to learn more anyways.
Just want to point out again how attractive Kerry is and how hot Solomon is. I just really, because it's, and I think appearance does play a big role in how accepting we are of ridiculous
theories
beliefs.
presented.
Yeah, like it's harder to, like, I know Kerry is evil, but it's harder for me to hate her because she's aesthetically pleasing. Whereas like Laura Loomer used to be pretty.
Yeah.
And like after the I don't know. I just think it's weird how appearances do play a role in believability.
I agree. Like now for me, like there are people in the conspiratorial world, like but like David Wilcock's forehead, I would have never fallen for his grift with that bad hair. I'd be like, nah, I'm out.
His forehead needs its own zip code.
Exactly. Oh wait, she's no Minerva. No, she's no Minerva. She can't store all that on her. Okay.
Get it go
You're-
interdimensional.
Oh wait, I guess I should give everybody who might be new or doesn't know. This is Kerry Cassidy from Project Camelot, and this is Major Solomon Berg. He really does not believe this. It's kind of a sociological experiment that he did. He was a big fan of the podcast show called Knowledge Fight, hosted by Dan and Jordan, and they examine Callahan. They examine Alex Jones, foremost experts in Alex Jones, especially Dan. They've actually done so much investigating into Alex Jones that Dan helped with the Sandy Hook depositions and trials and things like that because he knows so much about Alex Jones. He was an expert witness testimony kind of thing like that. So through Knowledge Fight, came to learn of Kerry Cassidy doing this interview with Major Solomon Berg, finding Squatch and working with him. Turns out it wasn't real. He was doing kind of a sociological experiment. He had studied Kerry, what she would like, which information she would take in, and Kerry believed him. So that's what we're about to watch. Continue watching.
Well, that's not how I would describe how its FTL drive works. The ships that Black Kraken uses are Black Kraken ships. They're not identical.
Where we're picking up to is how he got to Mars. This is where we left off. This is how he gets from Earth to Mars on the Black Kraken ships.
To like the Orion class vessels of Solar Warden or Radiant Guardian. They're smaller. They're sort of designed as armored troop transports. So this is a smaller ship that uses a fusion pulse drive for sublight maneuvering. And are you familiar with fusion pulse drive technology?
Well, only by name.
Only by name.
I don't have a scientist's understanding of what that really is.
So this is essentially where you throw nuclear bombs out the back of your ship in order to generate a propulsive force. So your fuel is nuclear bombs, warheads. But these ships do have an FTL drive.
This interview gave Dan from Knowledge Fight some ethical concerns, didn't it? It did, Muggsy. It was this one that he was kind of suspicious in the first one because Solomon Berg mentions his research assistant, Daniel. Does he just say Daniel Jordan the first time? And then they listen to a second one and he says Daniel
Emmerich.
Yeah. And he's like, all right. And then like he puts his cat Celine in, I think is in the second one too. So they don't cover the third interview.
Yeah, and then the Lionel. And then he adds in the Lionel.
That's right, the Lionel. And so they quit covering it. They don't cover the third interview. Somehow they get connected with Solomon Berg and his partner. And they're like, hey, we're not really nefarious. This is why we did it. We killed the character off. He's not going to go back. And Dan and Jordan have him back on the show to talk about it. It's really a fascinating interview.
That is based on scalar loop formations. It's a kind of scalar wave generator that approximates the effects of a localized wormhole.
Okay, well, that's what I consider to be going interdimensional in shorthand. Okay, fair enough.
You're not concerned about all that nuclear waste, Kerry?
Were you there with, you say you had one person at least under you. Were you there with a whole team of people that were actually, part of your team kind of thing? And can you say how many in your team?
It varied because, we weren't there as one. We were on different service contracts. So I was there for a tour. Master Sergeant Daniel Jordan was
there. We go.
Master
Sergeant Daniel Jordan. Speaking of the devil,
we were bunkmates, and during that time, people were rotated on and off base. There might have been periods where they were sent to another base, another compound. There are multiple Mars bases, obviously, and multiple colonies. Not all of them are under human jurisdiction, and not all of them are under U.S. jurisdiction. I'm well aware of a thriving German community on Mars, but I did not have much interaction with that German community.
The Mars Nazis?
Okay, now I'm going to sort of push that to the side so that we can get into the meat of the interview, so we weren't here all night. But obviously, would love to have you back to get into more detail, because I know a lot of people would like to know. So if that's going to be possible, that would be great. But at this point, I'd like to turn to what your skill set was, how it got discovered after your bout in Mars. Again, was it based to come back to Earth? What did you do to draw attention to yourself in a certain way? Why did they assign you to this Squatch individual that they captured?
Well, when the journals refused to publish my work, I sent my findings to Black Kraken.
How did you find Black Kraken? She doesn't even ask.
Owl always seems to know how to find me.
Fucking my buddy Al.
You know, whenever there's been a time when Black Kraken or some other arm of the military needs me, Owl has been able to locate me. I don't stay hidden. I just am a pretty low-key guy. I don't maintain a very visible presence online. I try not
Steph,
to draw a lot of
you said he's
attention to
not
myself,
online. You can't find him.
so that I can really just have the time and space to focus on what I'm passionate about, which is my work. So in the course of developing the human-animal communication techniques, I first started experimenting, having telepathic conversations with my cat, Gnome, and progressed from there to laboratory tests where I communicated with chimpanzees, pigs, dolphins. We discovered there was a hard limit, that we could only achieve communication using this technique with placental mammals. Kerry, I have stared for hours at kangaroos. Nothing. Silence. They have very quiet minds. And it's because they have that reptilian mind.
Huh.
The reptilian brain. You know, the marsupial has a much more reptilian brain. So
it's closer to a bird in a certain sense.
Yes, and birds also lack that organic brain structure, the corpus callosum.
Oh yes, the corpus callosum.
Even though many species of bird can be very intelligent,
he's checking his notes. She doesn't even realize
it's a different kind of intelligence. They don't have the same kind of quality of communication between the two hemispheres of their brains. So they don't quite synthesize information in the same way that placental mammals with our more complex brains do. And so Squatch has a complex brain like a placental mammal. There is a structure in Squatch's brain that is similar to the corpus callosum, similar enough that the telepathic organelles in that structure were capable of exchanging information with telepathic organelles in
I cannot believe the world he creates, him and his friend.
Before we go there, just to finish the thought.
I realize I should back up a bit.
Yeah, if you can explain, because you were saying that you wrote these papers, you were doing these experiments. Was this at a certain organization? And then Al came and found you when they, I guess, captured this Squatch, as you call it?
Well, they already knew me. I was still maintaining my ties with Black Kraken as a research community. So I was sending my findings to Black Kraken because who else would take me seriously? Like I said, they call me Dr. Doolittle. Project Black Kraken recognized the importance of my work.
Dr. Doolittle.
And continued to fund and support me as I achieved increasingly more complex communication, first with various earth animals. And then as the need arose, they brought me in on the Squatch project. So my understanding, because I was not there when this happened, but at some point in probably 2017, the U.S. military captured one of these entities. He is a young male Squatch.
Oh, were we further than this?
What we would call a bachelor Squatch.
Or have I just heard this before?
He is
Not sure. We might have
approximately
heard
300
this.
years old. And that is, in Squatch terms, about like a 22-year-old human. So young. Still basically a kid, but independent.
If he mentions the
So,
wizard, I know
when
that
they
we're further
brought
than
you
that.
in, do they have to bring you into an underground base? I mean, where do they hold? Where were they holding? Are you at liberty to say where they were holding this captured?
Broadly, I can say that I visited the Squatch on a base in the Pacific Northwest. It was at that time considered not advisable to remove the Squatch from the environment he was found in. However, it came to light that both of the factions I mentioned earlier, the interstellar factions, had an interest in using the existence of the Squatch and its species history with both the Draco and Palladian empires propagandistically. And because of our government's infiltration by Dracos, it was a decision we made as Project Black Kraken to remove the Squatch.
Oh no, this is proper.
Draco influences here in the United States.
Because he's going to go on the lam.
Our concern is, this gets a bit complicated. So, as I mentioned before, on the intergalactic scale, there are two major, I would call them alliances or coalitions, and one is centered around light work and the other is centered around domination. But within the framework of the light workers, there has still been a history of conflict. So when we talk about Palladians, when I've engaged with less, I would say with more
Conspiracy theorists love Pleiadians.
People,
They're the
I have
white
heard Pleiadians
beings,
described in
Aryan
almost
looking.
exclusively like heroic or even religious terms. And that's, I think, that says more about us than it does about any extraterrestrial intelligence. So I don't think you can judge an entire species based on its government. So when I say this, I want to be very clear, just as a large number of the people in Project Black Kraken are Jewish. We're currently guests of the Israeli government, but we're American Jews, so we have our issues with both the U.S. and the Israeli governments. You can't judge an entire alien species by the actions of its government.
Kerry doesn't know how to process. She just,
their empire does have a history of expansion. And Squatch's species were refugees, but they were also refugees in the Draco Dominion.
She's like, not my Palladians,
So
they're angels.
Neither empire has been particularly good for Squatch. There are no heroes to the Squatch. Heroes are an oppressive Western construct. It's almost, it's like asking a Holocaust survivor, who did the most for them. They're going to resent the question. So with that, I was considered the person who was best situated to be able
Kerry
to
is taking this all in.
exchange
She's not even
quality
answering questions. She's
information to really communicate on an emotional and
I've
spiritual
watched a
level
lot of
with
Kerry.
Squatch.
She
Because of my
busted
background in
interviews so hard.
anthropology, because of my work as a liaison and because of my knowledge of primate behavior and ecology, Squatch is an alien primate, just like we are Earth-based primates.
Okay, so when you initially contacted me, you said that you had actually, and you've kind of said it, but not in straight up, right, perfectly clear terms. You were in a situation after you'd been working with Squatch and the US government in whatever capacity, you were with, I guess, if you call it Kraken or whatever organization it worked with Kraken within I call it the secret space program, but whatever.
Details aren't important.
And that you had to leave. You decided to take him and leave. And so you actually escaped. I don't know if you call it escaped. You escaped from our country, the United States, to Israel, and I believe isn't it underground in Israel?
Yes.
Okay. So can you kind of describe that setting? And then also it's important for people to realize that. So Squatch views Pleiadians and Draco with suspicion.
Yeah.
But they were willing to consider you because you were kind of neither on one side or the other, so to speak.
Right. I think Squatch is comfortable with Jews. I think Squatch senses a kind of kindred history, given that we are both
in the universe, and so they were actually a rogue species and became a rogue species.
A diaspora people without a home for many, many years. Squatch was very comfortable with me. I had to do a lot to gain Squatch's trust. A lot of it was involving humor.
Oh gosh.
That was really what worked.
This is the one.
In order for Squatch.
I remember Dan saying like he was excited because he was like, yeah, he's going to make Squatch laugh. This joke is not a good joke. Not really good. They failed on this one. This is the one part I think they failed in their
Squatch, because Squatch is a sapient being.
Thing they did.
In order for Squatch to really let me in to his mind, I first had to get to Squatch's heart, and I got to Squatch's heart with humor.
Yes, Mur, he is saying that he interacted with Squatch. Yes. Squatch trusts him and his group Project Black Kraken. They have escaped to Israel because the US government and Pleiadians and other groups are kind of out to get him. And Squatch, there are no heroes for Squatch. So he trusts Solomon Berg, and they're hiding out in Israel right now until Squatch is safe. So yeah, he's saying he interacted with Squatch. And Kerry believes him.
Can I tell you what I did to make Squatch laugh?
Yeah, please.
I wore a gorilla mask.
Oh. Okay, and that made him laugh.
Yes. Well, laughter as his species would produce it. Okay. They are able to learn English. They are able to learn human languages, and they even can pass for human if they shave their body hair and file their teeth.
Okay.
Kerry just goes, okay. So Squatches, if they shave their body hair and file their teeth, can pass as humans. I cannot. Oh, Kerry Cassidy, you beautiful woman.
General height is what did you say it was?
Well, the one that I've seen is about 7 feet tall. Now that one is very young, and they become taller and more conspicuous as they age. So I think they can reach 8 or 9 feet. The females are smaller and larger boned than the males. The males tend to be kind of tall, lanky. Now they have an interesting social structure. The females are sedentary, and there are relatively few females on Earth. This isn't their natural setup. This is more just because they're refugees. This is who happens to land here. So there are about 40 adult males to every one adult female.
Whoa.
So
Liking those odds for the females
the
if they wanna
males are
find a
nomadic.
mate.
They roam. They work odd jobs. They trade and barter.
What odd jobs are the Squatch working? If Kerry doesn't have a follow-up question for that, she is terrible to interview. I want to know what jobs Squatches have. What odd jobs are they doing?
Okay.
They live really on the margins of society.
But how did they land here? I think you say they borrowed a spaceship or something.
Over the years, they've acquired many ships from various alien civilizations. So they don't have their own like indigenously designed fleet. They do have a number of advanced spacecraft that they keep hidden using cloaking devices.
Okay, so we still need to kind of get back to this original train, is that at some point working with the U.S. military and in the U.S., you and or Squatch felt it necessary to leave, and you negotiated and made a deal with the Israelis, right?
Yes.
So what was the nature of why you left?
Squatch did not trust the United States government.
Wise.
Squatch did not trust the United States government to protect its species from being exploited
Wise decision
by
on
either
Squatch's part.
Dracos or Pleiadians. Squatch sees Earth as a battleground between Dracos and Pleiadians. They came here as refugees thinking they were safe. It turned out they were not safe. So they keep hidden, but this one had been discovered and it was very scared. So I had become very emotionally close to Squatch. We all had, but especially me. So I and Squatch were sort of seen as the prime decision makers. And it was really our call. And we both agreed that it would be better for Black Kraken to operate independently from the authority of the federal government.
That's why you guys went off the grid.
And that we could better protect this individual Squatch if we were to make an alliance with a foreign power. Now, Israel was chosen because I believe I told you, Black Kraken, we were the egghead jarheads. A number of us were Jewish, and we qualified for birthright. Sorry, not for the right of return. So we were able to become Israeli citizens fairly easily without a lot of questions asked, and that was really the rationale.
Ideal to hide out.
To be very accessible to us. And so you wanted to know about where I've been living and under what conditions, right?
Well, yes, but I also want to know how did you get him out? How did you escape from the U.S.? Were you assisted by other soldiers? You know,
if I tell you, I'd have to kill you, Kerry.
This is where we're edging up on things I can't directly comment
there
on.
It is.
I can say that I committed what could be considered crimes. Now, the issue with being charged with anything is that they would have to acknowledge my unit exists. They would have to acknowledge.
He's like, yeah,
that
I know how that
Squatch
goes.
exists.
They don't want to acknowledge this stuff.
So because they can't afford to blow that cover up, they can't actually proceed with any kind of formal extradition request.
Okay, but we did discuss that even the reason you're coming forward right now is almost as a platform to try to get back into the U.S. and in their good graces, if you will, and also as a tentative disclosure rollout of a kind for humans to begin to understand that there are other races out there This
Yeah,
is a race that they have certainly been
a species.
rumored to exist on our planet.
Boy, was that smart of him too, doing the research to know when he contacted Kerry saying, if I get on your show, it's a way for me to kind of get the government to look at this and its disclosure. And I can get the message out and maybe we won't be so rogue and they'll see the message. Because Kerry, you and I are on the same side here. You know what I'm talking about. I'm a whistleblower.
Planet for
and I
years,
just wanted
and
to
I've
let you
actually
know,
done interviews with
Yeah, babe.
I've been listening, but I've also been compiling some links that I'm going to send to you in the private chat.
Okie dokie, Smokey.
Alrighty.
other people who've interacted with Squatch or Yetis, as you know what I call, whatever you want to call them, and in the Pacific Northwest especially, and believe that they are communicating with them. I'm not sure whether they're doing it the way you're doing it, not necessarily telepathically, although maybe in some cases they are. But so you left the U.S. and you managed to get this being out of here with you.
Yes.
And you went over to Israel and they established a habitat for the being as well as for you and your group, right?
The habitat was constructed inside an abandoned missile silo. We were given the use of an old military base that the IDF was not currently using, but maintained as kind of a reserve outpost. Right now, I'm about 80.
Steph, I just saw your name. Dustified the towers with lasers. They make your name.
Oh yeah, no, I made that one.
That's funny.
For myself. Yeah, that was from when I was recording with Poker.
Clicks outside Tel Aviv. I'm underground. We're boosting the signal so that we can have this conversation. I spend most of my day underground. The Squatch obviously is not accustomed to a desert environment. So the Squatch is kept in a protected habitat
That's nice.
where no Palladian or Draco infiltrator can get to him. He's under round-the-clock guard. We try to make sure that he has adequately stimulating entertainment. We have mental health experts caring for him. He is in constant contact with the rest of his species through the overmind. I did want to just make a quick answer. This is one of those bug up my butt because I'm an anthropologist things. But when we talk about extraterrestrial species, we really shouldn't use the term race. Race is really a human construct, doesn't really apply to extraterrestrial species.
Okay. Well, I use it in the term of human race as opposed to, races per se. So when I say, just in general, but that's
Kerry's
fine.
like,
So you want to see
hubbity, hubbity.
extraterrestrial species. So they're a species. That's an acceptable term.
That's the scientific terminology. Race isn't a scientific term.
I hear you. All right. So species. So as a species, you're dealing with this particular individual, but his contact is with this did you call it?
I'm sorry if there's lag for anybody. I don't know if it's on my end, but we have a very bad storm, like sleeting where I live. And I live in a rural area. And even though I have the highest internet here that I can get, it lags still sometimes for me. But we have kind of sleet and ice coming down right now. So I don't know if that's going to affect anything. And I forgot to mention that at the beginning. If I get dropped or something happens, it's because we have a sleet and ice storm kind of thing going on right now.
Overmind?
Overmind, yes.
Okay, overmind. And would you liken it at all to what dogs and other, and cats do share among their species, or no?
It's different because their mind is more understandably ordered from a an anthropocentric, human perspective, because they are of a similar, well, actually greater intelligence than ourselves, because they have these incredibly complex minds. They are, like us, better able to synthesize information and make connections and draw meaning on a more than instinctual level. So there's a kind of constant dialogue between all members of the species.
Okay, so let's clarify that for the audience. So you consider them, or you believe they are, as a species, more intelligent than humans. Do you believe they're more intelligent than dolphins, or they simply have a different kind of intelligence?
It is Muggsy. I love that he did that. And I think he has sunglasses in his pocket.
It's a hard comparison. I don't think they're more intelligent than dolphins. I use humans as a direct comparison because we are physically more similar to them than we are to dolphins. We are tool users. We have verbal linguistic communication. It's easier to draw comparisons between us and the Squatch than it is to draw comparisons between us and dolphins, or the Squatch and dolphins.
All right, well then, would you compare their intelligence to, let's say, to the insectoids, to the Draco, to the reptilians? If you were going to put them on some kind of scale,
Kerry,
is it equal or less than or greater than, or do you know?
It's about Pleiadian level. They're as old as the Pleiadians. They've coexisted
just
with
as
the Pleiadians
smart
a
as
long
your
time.
white Pleiadians,
Some
Kerry.
of the Pleiadians' beliefs actually came from them.
All right. So they're considered to be, from what I understand, a six-dimensional species.
Yes.
Okay, so just to, and they may be now going above the sixth dimension, at least the Pleiadians, from what I understand, or factions of the Pleiadians.
The overmind stretches across the sixth dimension.
All right. And so
He's
when
not
you're
going to let
in
her
touch with the
Pleiadian him up.
overmind, are you also in the same room with Squatch in order to do that, or is that not necessary?
It was necessary at first, but as we became more bonded, less of we don't need line of sight anymore.
All right. And so you learned about their history through your contact with their overmind. Is that correct?
Yes.
And to some degree, possibly your discussions with Squatch?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Now, when you got recruited to interact with Squatch, were you, excited? Had you already heard of the Sasquatch? In other words,
I'd be fucking excited, Kerry. I would go
great
nuts.
Opportunity where
Kerry, I was thrilled. This was the dream of a lifetime, because we're talking about a being. So I do believe there is some kind of genetic relationship between their evolutionary lineage and ours. There are too many similarities to ignore. Looking at Squatch was almost like looking at a missing link.
Kerry,
but not just
I
a
was
missing
thrilled.
link connecting us to our past. It was a missing link connecting us to our past and also to the stars and to our future. So the initial communication flourished into something. I describe it as emotional. I have developed an affinity for the Squatch. I have come to recognize traces in myself on an order like a starseed. So, like the Pleiadians have starseed connections, they have been active in the evolution of life on multiple worlds. So, in an intimate way, was the Squatch.
Well, what is your understanding of their relationship to Lyra? Because Lyra is considered to be where a lot of humanoid species come from. Did the Squatch have any kind of relationship to that system?
Yeah.
See, I don't know much about Lyra and these different worlds they talk about, like they bring it up, but the new girl I found from Kerry Cassidy talks about Lyra and these other beings. Interesting.
So one thing that's important to understand, and I think this applies to very human-like extraterrestrials who may be related to us as it does to humans on Earth. When we talk about, I get very specific about language because of my background. So when we talk about the human species, they're actually at some point in the distant past, there were multiple human species. There were Neanderthals, the hobbits from Flores. Human really is a genus. Human doesn't refer to a race or a species. It refers to a genus
I wanted
of the
to
hominins.
Yes.
I wanted to point out that those were two major clues that he does have a genuine background in anthropology. And those were two things that stood out to me, two very specific things. One of them was the pronunciation of Neanderthal.
Instead of Neanderthal. Yeah.
Yeah. Neanderthal is the correct pronunciation. It's the first thing you learn in every anthropology class. And the other thing was that he spoke of the hobbits from Flores, Homo floresiensis. There was actually a race of tiny little hobbit-like humans.
Oh.
And so the pronunciation of Neanderthal and the Homo floresiensis. He didn't actually say Homo floresiensis, but
he was alluding to it.
The hobbit thing, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm only speaking from my own experience, that's not something you're really exposed to unless like you're like into like ancient history or archaeology or anthropology. Like not too
until
many
you just
people
told me right now. I know Neanderthal, like I know that's the correct way to pronounce it from watching TV shows and documentaries. But with the second part, that Hobbit thing you just told me, no, never heard of that. That's not something I've come across because that's not an area I really look into. You know what I mean? So
I'll put a link, but yeah, no, there was actually a hobbits.
I mean, I know the hobbits from the Lord of the Rings, but as in an anthropological type sense, no, I've never heard of that.
But that to me, those were two things that did stand out to me. You know, and also when he's talking about the taxonomical classifications and stuff like that, I'm like, this is a guy who knows his shit. But again, with the hobbits, I'm like, most people listening to this would probably think it's part of his story, but there actually were hobbits.
Yeah, I wouldn't have until you said that because like that's not something I've ever like. I'm sure my husband probably knows that because just Lord of the Rings and like the background and the history and where J.R.R. Tolkien got him different stuff from. You know what I mean? And his ideas, but that's not something that I was ever aware of or encountered until right now. I learned something new. You taught me something.
Well, one of the tattoos that I want to get eventually is the tattoo of Lucy.
Oh yeah, I've seen her.
The bones, yeah, because I'm a huge fan. I wrote to Jane Goodall when I was a kid, and she wrote me back twice.
Oh my gosh, really?
Letter. I think I might have found one of them when I was at my dad's house last year. I think I might have found one of them.
That's really cool.
Yeah, but I was into like all this, archaeology and shit as a kid, and then that got me into like primatology and anthropology, and like Diane Fossey was my goddamn fucking hero.
Oh, she's badass.
Because that bitch, she got killed because of the shit that she was doing, but she wasn't doing bad shit. She was doing good shit.
Exactly.
And it's because of her that what few gorillas still exist. And
exactly. Oh, that's
fuck
really
whoever
cool.
killed her. But yeah, no, but those are some, and it's so perfect that he chose that. And I think he chose that for a reason, because people who know anthropology be like, oh, that's so clever. But people who don't, it would just be like, it's part of his story. But
that went over my head.
Yeah, but those were two dead giveaways that he
Now, it's
gave that he's
probably
an
in the Natural History
anthropologist.
Museum, right? I've been to the Smithsonian one a million times. We have one in Pittsburgh. I've been there. They probably have a display, but you see so much going down through the timeline and the, bones everywhere and the archaeological stuff. I was probably like, next. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's.
Yeah, and anybody who's in like Pennsylvania area or anywhere around there, I suggest you take a day and go visit the Mutter Museum.
I've been. It's amazing.
And I have a stuffed animal from there. I have a stuffed animal of the giant colon.
Uh-huh.
And his name is General Colin Bowell. That was the name I chose for him. But no, but if you want to see interesting bones, and even if you're not into anthropology or medicine and stuff like that, I think it's really interesting. And like having like a slightly nerdy interest in like weird medical stuff and anthropology, it's just and then you hear that there were like this like tiny human race of hobbits.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. But at the Mutter Museum, you're going to see like pure mutations, like mutations. Like this thing did not survive for more than a few hours. Sorry, I should have said thing.
Actually, my son was getting recruited. I forget which college out for football out in Philly. And I was like, oh, okay, if we're going and spending the night there for this football training, not training, getting recruited, like the recruitment camp, forget what they're called. I can't think of it now. It's been so long. We're going to the Mutter Museum too while we were there. So that's what we did. We stayed, he did his camp. Next day, we did the Mutter Museum and came back home.
So I
do have to say, my son, he may be 6 foot, about 6'1", 280 pounds. He could not take the wet specimen section. He walked in, big guy, strong stomach. He's like, nope, I'm out. I'm done on that one. Like, what
that's
section
the
I'm
most
talking about?
delicious section.
Ew, it was gross.
We look back, say,
he's like, nope, not for me, Mom.
80,000 years ago on
Wait,
Earth.
Did I miss
we
something?
Would have seen.
With what?
I don't remember anything at the museum being particularly gross. Are you telling me I missed an exhibit?
I started to get nauseous in there in the wet specimen part.
What? Oh, you mean the one with the jars?
All the jars. At that one room that had all the jars.
Oh, those are tasty little snacks.
I actually started to get, after a while, I was like, okay, I've seen enough. Like, I started getting, all right, I'm done with this room.
No, that doesn't bother me. The grossest thing I ever saw, and I told Muggsy this when we spoke on the phone, was an embalming class, and the students didn't put the aperture in his neck right, and the blood just starts squirting out of his. And
Steph, you have a way stronger stomach than me.
And then they had to aspirate his leg because he had cellulitis, and they stuck the trocar in, and his leg split right open. Those were the two grossest things I saw, and those are in person.
I mean, yeah, disgusting. Oh, I can't. Nope.
Oh, I'm so glad that you connected me and Muggsy.
I'm glad
there
too.
was an evolutionary bottleneck event, something like 80,000 years ago, in which the living human population was reduced down to just barely the number
my sister did before
of
too.
breeding pairs that it took for the species to sustain itself and survive with any kind of like healthy genetic diversity. So when you look at humans today, you're looking at a pie slice of what human diversity
not the wood in the foot,
like
Nina.
For the majority of
you were robbed. They shouldn't let you keep the wood
life on this planet. So it applies similarly with closely humanoid extraterrestrial beings like the Pleiadians, who are, in a way of speaking, our cousins. Mm-hmm. And similarly, Squatch is also from a cousin species. You could even call them a kind of...
Mina, have you thought about Ricoing the hospital for not letting you keep the piece of wood from your foot. Just an idea. Yeah, it's Squatch time.
I mean, I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
She did. She wanted to keep, and she was going to put it in one of those jars like the Mutter Museum. She had a chunk of wood in her foot, and it was been there since January 10th, and she got it removed this week, and they wouldn't let her keep it. She was robbed.
When I had like a fatty tumor underneath, like in my arm right here by my slug tattoo.
Yeah.
And I got it taken out when we lived in Bisbee, and I made them promise to show it to me after they took it out. So they brought it over to me in a little jar and they waggled it, and I was like still out, and I'm like, it's fucking cool, man. And I passed out.
I do know Mina's whole story about her wood. I do. How do I know all this? Yeah, and she did. She did get to see her piece of wood. Yeah.
Oh,
She at least got to say goodbye.
Oh, I love watching pimple popping and ingrown hair video removals because it's like, this came from me. Look how amazing this thing is.
I can watch feet ones, like different things with feet, but yuck.
Proto.
That was an alien implant.
You know what?
That's why they wouldn't give her the wood.
There we go. That's exactly. That's what I can watch. Planar wart removal. I can watch that kind of stuff. That's about as high as I go on the gross out level.
No, but that was actually an alien implant, and that's why they won't give it back to you, man.
You know what? She was probably chipped and they can't give it back. It was from the alien technology. That's why you couldn't have it back, Mina.
Yup, MJ12. Fucking MJ. Oh, and by the way, Shelby, have you seen that Behind the Bastards is like they've done like 3 UFO related episodes in a row.
I want to watch them, but I haven't had time because it's Dr. Stephen Hassan.
You do great work. Everybody tells Shelby how great work she does because she does. But I just got so excited and I thought of you and Quacks right away. And I still haven't finished listening to any of them because I love them so much and I'm afraid to reach the end. He's talking about Paul Benowitz and the Mirage
telling everyone,
Men.
Mina. Everyone that you were implanted, the woody is now a chip, part alien.
Of us.
We're Jellins.
I am jealous.
Okay, but what cousin? What one would that be? You know, if it's not me, if it's not humans and it's not Pleiadians, is there what would you give a name to that cousin?
Well, I've referred to them as the Squatches.
The Squatches.
Okay, so okay. I guess, okay, let's talk about the Anunnaki, because my understanding of the Anunnaki is that they were also invaded by Draco, and they became what I call a humanoid, reptilian species. So
my learnings about the hierarchy of the Draco Empire have led me to the conclusion that what we are looking at is a kind of assimilation plot. So in Earth history, when people from a more advanced civilization encountered people from a less technologically advanced civilization, these groups were subsumed into the population. There was assimilation culturally and genetically. Similar assimilation happened in outer space.
Right.
The Draco Empire is a hierarchy. It is a hierarchy of reptilian beings.
I bet it is.
So you have the Draco bloodline, who are like the pure baseline Draco.
Well, and they're called the Shakar, at least to my knowledge.
Yes.
How we refer to it.
This is done because at 9:00 I was
crisis actor.
Crisis actor. I was going to switch over to the more modern, like the more current one. This was done. What would you say this was, Steph? About 3 or 4 years ago? Knowledge Fight has been on a long time.
Solomon Berg's episode where he was interviewed by the Knowledge Fight guys came out on my birthday. And that was the same night I streamed with Dave, and he gave me a code, a for like 25% off, which was Steph is 47, and that code's no longer good. So, and I'm 48 now, so this was September when I was 47.
So probably even like a year prior to that. So, right? Because they
Isn't
would.
that weird how I used that?
That really was a lot of backtracking there to get to that. Woo!
Yeah. Sorry, but that's how I remember, because I remember on the way home, I opened up my Spotify. I had just like streamed with Dave, and I opened up my Spotify, and I was like, we interviewed the Squatch guys, and I'm like, it's my birthday. This is amazing.
By the way, I keep hearing Solomon Burke who was a fantastic soul singer. Oh, maybe I'll have to look that up. Oh, okay. So I'm going to switch over to the new lady for a little bit. Well, we can come back to him just because it's an hour long, and then Steph and I are kind of we're just us tonight. And hold on one second. We'll
Are
see.
you feeling my pain?
Yeah, I was like, we're just
I'm
us
feeling
tonight.
yours.
We can watch some of this new Lily Nova.
Can I say I already hate her?
I told
her
you
face,
she's really
her
young.
name.
Lily Nova. And you'll notice her background. She has like dream catchers up. She has the sun and the moon. It's all very theatrical and staged. I'm gonna do background into her later.
And she started taking ballet when she was 7.
Yep.
And she never had a cavity.
She was
and
your captain.
Her first kiss was at age 17. She was homecoming queen. Am I right? These are all guesses, by the way. Am I right on any of this?
No, I'm just saying she's that type. I don't know anything about her background other than watching her on Kerry, and I didn't finish it, but it's very much that energy.
She's the type of girl that destroyed Uggs.
Whoops.
I'm
I
using.
didn't mean to do that. Go ahead.
She's the type of girl that destroys Uggs, because I love Uggs, and I have many, many pairs of them. But it's like when you see them on someone like her, you're like, I hate those shoes.
I know. I have Uggs too, and I actually made sure when I got my new pair of Uggs, because they keep my feet warm. Look, I have a disease like where my fingers and toes turn white for no reason.
Me too.
Yeah. So Uggs keep my feet very warm, and white girls with their Stanley cups and all that stuff ruined it because they make fun of us. So I made sure to get a different style of Uggs, so they're not their stereotypical ones. So nobody's like, your boots with the fur, like.
Yeah, but no, but that, and I'm sorry, and we're just being judgy bitches, but sometimes it's fun to be a judgy. Sometimes it's okay to be Linda Belcher going after Colleen Javiero.
Well, and she's fleecing people and she's grifting. And I don't know how much is a grift and how much COVID broke
Like
her.
I don't have any problems making fun of David Wilcox or Liz Churchill's ginormous foreheads because they're pieces of shit.
Yep. I agree. Whoa, Kerry, you're hot.
Okay, we are live. Hi, everyone. I'm Kerry Cassidy from Project Camelot, and very happy to be here today. So,
in some of her videos, her hair's dyed pink at the ends and purple.
Actually, just met her in person.
Kerry's eye is bad.
It got really bad. There's some videos too when she does, like, it looks like Kerry. It looks like she's kind of melting. You know, like when older people can't put their lipstick on right, and it's like all down around their mouth. Like if she wears a brighter shade, it looks like that. And her makeup sometimes is all messed up. Like her hands maybe aren't working right.
She looks like she's had a fucking stroke.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that she had, what's it called?
I think it's Bell's palsy, I think is what it is. Somebody told us in chat before. I believe that's what it is. And it can improve on its own. That's what Justin Bieber had. Like a lot of people, you know, that occurs to them. But you go to the doctor, you get treatment. There's, you know, other things you can do for it. But Kerry wanted to go see Mark Richards, the real murderer, fake Space Command guy at prison at Vacaville. And she was so concerned about that, and she doesn't believe in real doctors. So she never went and got treated. And that happened quite a few years ago.
Well, and there was, when David Icke discusses his his awakening that he had, I think it was in Peru. This was before he went on the BBC in his aqua tracksuit and declared himself the son of the Godhead. Um, his awakening, in Peru and stuff,
Mhm.
like he'd been dabbling with like holistic cures and stuff because nobody could help him cure he had like some really, really bad arthritis and he could no longer play football. So then he became a football announcer and nobody could cure this fucking arthritis. So he went a spiritual path. And then he's describing this incident, his great awakening down in Peru. And the way he describes it, again, I'm not a doctor and I am not qualified to make any of this, but his descriptions sound like a mini stroke.
Exactly. And that's, I think it happens too frequently with these people.
And you can have a mini stroke and not know that you had one.
Exactly.
And it can scramble your brain. In fact, the first video I watched with our friend Fetzer, I was a conspiracy theorist. He was talking about a woman who had a stroke, and in the moment of that stroke, she felt at one with the universe. So some of, if you scramble someone's brains, if you're having some kind of neurological incident, and I can't say conclusively if David Icke had a mini stroke.
Yeah.
And I can't say conclusively that something happened to Kerry. But we're working on the, evidence and knowledge we have available, and it seems like something did in both instances. And Kerry was already wacky beforehand.
Yep.
David wasn't. That's the interesting thing. That's just like with Judy Wood and her coma.
Yeah.
And Chris Benoit ended up killing his entire family because of steroids and because he had multiple head contusions.
Aaron Hernandez. Do you ever watch that documentary about him?
Yep. So the neurological shit can really, really fuck with people. And whether you're a conspiracy theorist or not, if you're going to dabble in this shit when you've had a neurological disorder. I mean, that Dan Jordan we're just talking about on the latest Knowledge Fight.
No, I didn't listen yet to that one. About this?
Like a concussion, Alex having like a big bump on his head, and they think that he might.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any pictures of it or anything, but and you hear these things time and time again, like John Wayne Gacy suffered multiple blows to the head, Ted Bundy, like
Richard Ramirez.
The one thing that's gonna fuck you up more than anything is the brain. If the brain is broken, the rest of the body can't function. And if the brain is broken, you are easy prey for grifters, for conspiracy theorists, for pseudoscience, and for cults.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I just think it's sad that...
Because she's a very pretty woman. And even though I think she's in her 70s now, she's still very pretty, like structure-wise, her hair and everything, but she doesn't have to suffer through the neurological issues if she had gone to the hospital or if she chose to go now. There's no reason to suffer like this.
So you think she might really be like a true believer?
I do. That's why I fall on the side of, maybe she knows some of this stuff. Maybe in the beginning she thought, but I think it just so much. And then, it just kept building and building. And you watch her interviews, and that's why I think she's really a true believer. She let her health deteriorate to this point because she won't go to the doctors because she believes all this stuff. And when you hear her talk today, she is very convinced and very certain in her facts and her beliefs. And she really doesn't make as much money as she could as the other grifters. I mean, you look at like people like Alex Jones or David Wilcock or Corey Good. She's not rolling in that kind of money. She's begging for money for her server. Her server's messed up again because she had to hire another person to do her server for Project Camelot to try to get everything all together.
And the reason all of their like you hear it all the time. Alex Jones has problems with his tech shit, and Kerry has problems with her tech shit. Number one, it's like I don't think there's Alex Jones has to know his tech shit to some extent. He has to. I think what it really is that when they have other people helping them, normal, rational, reasonable human beings who have hearts and brains aren't going to want to host this. They're not going to want to do her repairs. They're not going to host her website. So they end up getting people from the bottom of the barrel. You're not going to
Yeah.
get a top. I mean,
You're not
Alex
going to
did
get a
have
great
top
web serve
sound.
master. Yeah.
Alex once had a top sound engineer with his cousin Buckley.
Yeah.
You know, but you're going to have these problems because the people you find are going to be willing to do anything for a buck, and they're not going to do it well. And that's why all this stuff always looks like shit.
Yeah. And like I said, like she should though, because she's been in this game for 20 plus years. If she didn't have some real belief in it,
I
she
had
would
no
be making
idea.
so much more money.
I had
uncle's
no
name's
idea
Buckley.
she's been around that long. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, did she ever interview Arizona Wilder or Kathy O'Brien?
I can look, I'll find, because that's the thing about Kerry, why I have to look for her stuff everywhere, because some stuff's on
we got to talk
this
to
channel.
Fudgy.
Some stuff's on this one. Some stuff's here. And it's because Kerry switches web service providers so much and so many people have left her.
Let's start a little, and if, get some consensus from the rest of the people watching. Let's start maybe like a little GoFundMe to raise maybe like $1,500, and with that $1,500 we ask Fudgy for 5 databases.
Yeah. Searchable databases.
And I mean, and I think it would be something good to do, like a little GoFundMe or a Kickstarter.
Well, it's accessible to the public though, because everything that Fudgy puts out, like no matter who pays for it, he puts it open source for them to use. So it's not like we would be hoarding it because he puts it on that,
Yeah, but I think, if you guys are down with that, like, I don't
we
think
can
I
discuss
can create. But I would, I'd pitch in a little bit towards it, but I would really love that idea. And, just as a group kind of consensus, we definitely want Kerry, but come up with like 4 other names that we think might be useful.
Yeah, that's something to look. Definitely, I was thinking about. I told you I was thinking about asking Fudgy for a Stewartson database, like all the stews.
Okay, Stewartson, Kerry. There's 2 good ones right there. Yep.
There you go.
In a place where I was being interviewed by Journey to Truth, I think they call their website. So that interview should also be going out on a documentary soon.
See her lipstick is everywhere.
And so that was fun, and it was nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, we could do Von Michelle too. I would love to have a database of her.
Who you were. So
there's another person that we study too. She's in the convoy. Like her database would be useful to a lot of us people too. Like there's other databases too that we could all talk about and stuff. Like
then I say like maybe we go for like a higher amount. Maybe we come up with like 10 or 12 different, things or whatever.
Yeah, we can figure it out.
And I just want to point out that when I read Jewish Space Lasers for the second time, and I would have not seen this the first time, because the first time I was reading an actual copy of it. The second time I was reading an ebook that I purchased for my iPad, and that's how I noticed it. You click on the footnotes and it brings it up. Nobody's going to flip the pages in an actual book.
Yeah.
So I clicked on one of the footnotes when Mike mentions how many times Alex mentioned this on his show. And it came up that it was Fudgy. So Fudgy was fucking quoted as a resource in Jewish Space Lasers.
I use it all the time. And sometimes I go and I'm like, oh, I wish he had this database, because it is amazing to be able to go there and to look at the shows or the different people. And I'm like, yes, let me see.
How much work did he save us with the Fetzer project?
Oh my gosh, so much work, such a headache.
He saved us hundreds of hours.
Yeah, I had notes everywhere, and yeah, he really did.
And just listening to 45 minutes of Fetzer was torture. They beat me like a pinata.
I can't believe they did that to me.
But But yeah,
so it's great.
if we do it, Shelby will let me know. I'll help spread it around. But yeah, I think it would be great.
I think so too.
Great that you're out there on the scene, and apparently you've been doing this for a while. So what I'd like to do is, because I don't know a lot about you, I
20
have
years.
sort of
This bitch
tried
is on
to
your
gather a
territory.
little
She's new 5 years. You're just
because we
gonna let her come in?
made this really quickly. So why don't you introduce yourself, give yourself some background, how you got into, I don't know, do you call yourself?
I'm sorry to stop again, but just because I watch a lot of Kerry, I've noticed that as she got older, and it's not because of all those other older conspiracy theorists died, but she knows that she had to switch her audience. So she goes on like the more hip conspiracy theorist shows. She invites younger guests on, where before, back in the day, that wouldn't have flown with Kerry. You would have had to be a real insider.
Yeah.
Is this the before or after? This is Kerry modern day. This is a couple days ago. So this is Kerry today, what she looks like, and this is her brand new girl that came on that she interviewed, Lily Nova.
Yourself a channeler, a downloader, contactee.
Oh,
if you can
sorry,
clarify
Mina,
that,
we're not
because
face
people
to
are gonna
face. I
wanna
can't pick
know.
up the sarcasm.
And yeah, then we'll go from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me, and it was so nice to meet you in person. I love collaborating with other people in this field, I guess you can call it.
It's not a field.
in this movement. So my journey started. I mean, I would discover that contact's been happening all my life, but when I became aware of it was actually back in 2020 during lockdowns. I originally was a nutritionist. Went to school for dietetics, and in the middle of lockdowns, I started shooting astrophotography and became obsessed with space photography. So I was out every single night with a DSLR camera with all these lenses, taking photos of different galaxies, of nebula. I just fell in love with the night sky. And I was a clean slate. I'd never, that I was aware of, had an experience before. So
you were exactly
say something.
Yep, I knew it. Go ahead.
Okay, it's lockdown. She is feeling isolated. She's looking up at the night sky, feeling alone and disconnected. She's looking up at the night sky and she's feeling connected to that eternal presence of time and space. And she's looking up at the skies. And when she looks at a star, she's looking back in time, because that's an actual fact. When you look at a star,
yeah,
you are looking back in time. So she's having this existential epiphany, looking up at the night sky and all alone in the world. And suddenly there in the sky is her connection.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say.
Yeah.
That's that.
And if you
then
picked up on
she's a clean slate.
She's not, because she's coming in already from that healthy nutritionist. I was into that photography, locked, and she'll tell a little bit more of her story and you're going to pick up more. And I was like, oh, when she tells more about losing she quit her job, her car gets in it, totaled. There's so many life events that happen. Like, she was a prime pastel QAnon, fall into the starseed kind of thing. Like,
yeah, she reminds me of that Crystal Teeny, that like model that used to dance with like Fleetwood Mac or something, and like went crazy during lockdowns and stuff. Like, she's primed for that. I mean, I have not seen an unattractive pastel person, which is what disturbs me so much about it, is that it's like, as soon as you see a hot conspiracy theorist woman, you're like, oh, she's got to be pastel. She's definitely got to be a starseed. It's
being
it's
a
always
starseed,
like
my ass.
But I mean that's
what they all do.
Also,
and it's always the blondes. They're always, I'm a starseed.
But that's where this is like conspiracy porn.
Oh, it is conspiracy porn. That's a great one. It is
the most, I guess, like the most successful Twitch streamer, Amaranth or something like that. This totally hot lady, and guys would just tune in and throw her money to watch her play games because she was hot.
Yeah. So now you have
And,
with
like-
pastel QAnon, that's conspiracy porn with
And-
when you
and-
have the
and that-
Pleiadian look.
And that, yeah, because you have that look, and because you have that inclination towards like the yoga mom type, even if you're not a mom, that whole like segment of the populace is so easy to infiltrate. So they're just so easy to pill. And with the hot chicks, for lack of a better term.
Well, look at her
the
background.
attractive women.
She has doTERRA back there. You can see it because I know what the box looks like because of my friend. There's the diffuser.
Every
She's got the whole setup.
Wacko. Every fucking wacko has doTERRA.
Yep. She has it all set up. It's like she was already, like I said, she was primed. Lockdown happens, boom.
Yeah, and it I think I lost a former friend of mine to that because I guess her kids were born with autism, and then like she started talking crazy shit during lockdown, and then I was on her Facebook page and I saw that she had been working at like some organic garden.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's probably where it fucking started.
Yeah. I swear that's where all roads lead. Like, you can't just be into eating healthy or wanting better things going into your body. Like, no, artificial ingredients. It's just that next level.
Yeah, like I can't type in like keto or paleo recipes without coming across like 5,000 fucking conspiracy
Crystal mommies.
things.
Yeah, crystal mommies. Yep, exactly, Mina. She was so typical. When I saw this interview, I was like, this is perfect for us because it fits with everything we talk. And we're actually seeing somebody who fell into it during the pandemic.
And something else that just occurred to me of like the conspiracy theory types divided along gender roles, men and women, appeal to those traditional roles. And I'm not even sure if they're aware of it because the women conspiracy theorists like Arizona Wilder and Kathy O'Brien are these victims of this massive satanic ritual abuse conspiracy that goes to the highest levels of the government. And by the way, this was long before QAnon. This was like 20 years before QAnon. And so the women conspiracy theorists either play some kind of victim or they are appealing to the victim. Oh,
no, you're fine.
Go ahead. Or they are appealing to the victim status of other women, like how I had an example, but I was already like sundowning at 3:30 today, and it's 6:30 now. So
we were talking about the different roles, and then it was
the female and male roles, like the Alex Joneses, and even though David Icke comes from a more new age angle, he's still presenting masculine, like the male conspiracy influencers are focused on like war, destruction, and like the female ones are they're either like the victims or they're like the mothers of the Messiah. It just occurred to me
there's a dividing line,
and I might be full of shit or whatever, but there does seem to be like a gender identity with the conspiracy theories that they portray. Like the women,
it is because the women, it's Mother Nature, and it's all this. You're a homemaker, and your children, and it's the crystal mommy, the crunchy mommies, the yoga pant. It is, very much so.
Yeah,
and she'll get into this when she talks. Like, she's always loved nurturing people. She's always loved caring for people, and it's.
Close UFO encounter, which really rocked my world.
Okay, this last time I'm going to pause. I'll let us watch a little bit. She does show photos and videos later on in this. They are not mind-blowing. I have seen her first encounter.
Is a very, very close encounter. And then I just suddenly started becoming kind of bombarded by these UFOs. So me being curious and thinking, oh my God, this is if these are beings from another planet visiting and they are
Carrie,
here,
you need to go to the
people
doctor.
need to
You
know
don't look
about
well.
this. And so I started documenting it with my camera. And eventually I developed a relationship with these beings actually pretty quickly. A communication developed and they started teaching me things. I activated psychic abilities. They taught me about activating DNA.
Activating
And
what
so
DNA?
a lot of my contact I have contact with a few different groups of beings. And we can get into that if you'd like, but just to kind of summarize, prepackage my experience, most of it's through telepathy. I guess you can consider some of it kind of like channeling. I do meditations and stuff too, but most of it's just through telepathy, psychic contact, and sometimes I'll.
Can you tell us who David Huggins is briefly, Steph? I'm not sure. Like the name's not ringing a bell real quick. Like in my
Love and
not real quick, in my
Saucers.
head.
Love and Saucers.
Oh, okay.
Brad Abrams did a documentary called Love and Saucers about David Huggins, who claims to have been fucking aliens for the entirety of his life. And I just rewatched it and interviewed Brad, and I have an article about the documentary coming out on Valentine's Day.
I need to rewatch that. The name sounded familiar, and I was like, where have I heard that?
I suggest, I do highly recommend it because the ultimate, like, bizarre thing about this man's life is not that he claims to have been sleeping with aliens. It's that he enjoyed the experience, and he's not like trying to sell it as a story. Like, he genuinely believes, and like the people that know him believe that he believes. Not that they necessarily believe that these experiences happen,
he believes.
but the beautiful story is how normal this man is, and how he's not like a fucking like Kerry or this other lady. You know, like,
do you
the
want to
only
drop the
reason
link for the documentary into our chat so if people want to watch it?
Yeah, and then when the article comes out, you know, I'll share it on social media. I think did I send you a copy?
Yes,
of that one?
I'll probably read it tonight.
You don't have
to
to
read it. Shut up. I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Okay. But yeah, I'll drop and you can actually order prints of David's paintings. He does paintings of these scenes, and some of the proceeds do go to him. In fact, like, the only reason that he's like really making any money is because of the documentary. And Brad was like, hey, you should sell these paintings at a higher cost, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's we ordered one. We ordered the one called The First Time, with the alien straddling him. And
you showed me.
Some of the money from the prints does go to David himself. And so that was like
that kind of
really important.
Not grift. I don't supporting weirdness doesn't bother me. That kind of supporting weirdness is it because it's not a huge grift. It's kind of eclectic. It's kind of weird. It's
and he's
eccentric.
He's
not hurting anybody.
He's not like this lady. He's not going on people's shows. In fact, Brad told me he doesn't even have a computer. Like, if someone tries to contact him, his wife, they have to email his ex-wife, who he still lives with, and then she'll print it out for him and deliver it to him in paper so he can look at it.
Oh my gosh, that's adorable.
So I think the lack of the computer, I think that is a big
has stopped it from going further.
But I think it's important that people understand that that there are a very few of these quote unquote weirdos out there who genuinely believe their story, and they're not trying to hurt anyone, and they're not trying to harm anyone. They're very, very, very few, and they're diamonds in the rough. But David Huggins is one of those.
I'm going to rewatch that documentary. I might watch that tonight when we get off here and read your art thing at the same time, because I need a break from Hassan. Today's my Hassan break day. All day.
See the ships. And so I receive messages from them now, psychic insights, and I shared on my YouTube channel. I also do healing and things like that.
I do healing.
So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Okay. So you say you had contacts, so I'm sure everyone's going to want to know with whom or with who. And can you describe the beings?
Yeah, certainly. So the first beings that contacted me, well, my first experience ever, I went outside on my front porch and I had to quickly describe it, a diamond-shaped craft appeared that was very, very close, probably a few houses down. And I was just looking up, and it wasn't far away in the sky. It was kind of hovering over a few houses, and it went up and down, side to side very quickly. And it started coming straight towards me and then vanished right above my head. And it was a diamond-shaped craft with a row of red and then blue-green lights going across it. And then I started seeing a lot of ships and craft after that. Whenever I got to meet the beings a few months later that were appearing in these craft, and how I met them was a golden orb appeared, and then through telepathy, I received these downloads. It was almost like I was remote viewing on their craft. I got to see what they looked like from the ground, and I had somebody else there with me. And the beings that I saw had light blue skin. They had no hair and silver skin tight uniforms on, kind of like Star Trek like.
She's so
And
nonchalant
that
too, kind of like Star
beings
Trek.
were Andromedan Council
I'm just
beings.
ripping
they were,
off everybody
from the Andromeda
after, that came
constellation.
before me.
I would later meet other beings like
These new conspiracy theorists don't even have to work for it. It's out there. They can just pick and choose what they want. Lazy.
Nordic beings, Pleiadians, and various other types of beings, Arcturians, beings from Arcturus. And I've kind of seen a lot of different beings, but I talk
Triforce of
mostly
wisdom.
to, I guess you could say Pleiadians, Arcturians, and then these Andromedan beings.
Okay. And I don't know if I missed it, but how long have you been doing this again?
Contact for me started back in 2020, so it's been 5 years.
Okay. So now in terms of what you're getting, because, I listened to something where it said you were kind of in contact with the Alliance, you called them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some people have a different idea of who the Alliance really are.
I have no idea, so please
maybe
fill
you
me
could
in.
explain your perspective on that. And and maybe, are they the same beings you started out with? Are they different? And when did you start being in contact with what you consider to be the Alliance?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my contact has evolved. A lot of the beings have been the same. In the beginning, they taught me a lot of the kind of love and light and kind of the basics, the foundation.
Love and light.
Of, who we are, our DNA, and how we can activate this multidimensional DNA that we have. And we actually have more strands than two. We can,
Honestly, Mina, they shouldn't question the Alliance.
It kind of gave me the fundamentals. And I had some very beautiful spiritual,
a little Fifth Element reference,
still with the Andromedan Council and these Pleiadians.
There they are, Pleiadians.
Like I mentioned. Over the last couple of years, it has evolved, and I've also become aware of secret space programs and things like that, and the information has sort of kind of shifted. I've become aware of the deeper parts of our mission here, I guess you could say.
Kerry's like, don't mission
and that's
explain
whenever
me.
a different type of information started coming through, heavily over the last year, but really over the last 2 years. And so the Earth Alliance, the Alliance to me seems to be a combination of positive ETs and positive humans working together. And
I can't either, Mina, making it all up
and have communication with them as well. But that's my understanding of it. It's become a lot more military.
I love 7 of 9. She was badass.
And yeah, so it seems to be a combination of positive ETs, Andromedans, Pleiadians, other types of beings, and sometimes inner Earth beings, and then humans, like military, positive.
That's a whole lot of fucking people.
Operations.
Okay, so I guess let's jump forward to today, since I'm not sure if there's anything else you want to add to that before we jump forward to today. And then you also said you might want to show some pictures of craft and things. So you can kind of take the reins and do it your way, all right? Because this is just going to be an expose in a certain sense of what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and so on and so forth. So if you want to add pictures or videos you said you might.
Lily's coffee
Feel
cup is the
free.
size
So go ahead.
of her head.
Sure. Okay,
It
so
is
what am I
huge.
seeing now? Well, a lot of the I've been getting a lot of psychic and telepathic information about, I guess, a lot of things that have been going on kind of behind the scenes. If you want to jump into this, like I said, my communication and contact experiences have really evolved over the last couple of years, and we're going through a great awakening, and I think a great kind of purging and shift in consciousness. A shift in timelines.
Where we go when
I've
we
been
go
getting a lot of
all.
information about that over the last year. But some of the more recent information that I've been getting, so over the last couple of months, from what I'm seeing, we've switched into kind of this highest timeline and this golden age, and now there's a deep purging happening right now and exposing of a lot of the dark forces that have been involved in dark secret space programs and have played roles in our government.
If I had been taking a drink, I would have spit it out.
I don't know if you have any questions.
How many times have I done
about
that to you?
so far, or comments?
Too many. That took me off guard.
Like that text message about
No,
Cutie Pie, Ivan?
I guess not so far. Yes.
Yes. Now that it's inside to pause. Oh, when you said that about Ivan Raikkonen, I about fucking died.
When I text you, I was like, he can penetrate my deep state any day. or
Yeah, I
something?
think that was it. I was like, Steph, I'm leaving sheets. I'm done pumping gas. Stop. Like, I can't take it anymore.
I can't help it. He's hot.
There's a video I watch, and we'll watch her later because I think Lily might be my new favorite character with Kerry. But she actually remote views. She goes to a polling location. It's on her YouTube. And she records outside the polling location. And then after she comes out, she talks about...
No one can see my messages, apparently.
I think it's only... that happens to Spencer. He's the only one. I don't know why. But when she goes to the polling station, she remote views, and there are all kinds of alien beings in there. And they're in there, the reptilians and different ones, to flip the votes, to steal the election from Trump. This is what she remote views. Like, that's how far she has gone down into this stuff. It's fucking ridiculous. I was like, let me see what else this girl's been up to.
You know what would have been incredible is if she had remote viewed that that the election workers did their jobs. That's what it's funny how these people always find what they wanted to find in the first place. You know,
guys, I don't know why it doesn't show up, because maybe because she's a guest. I don't know. I'll try to figure it out for next time to figure out how her...
Yeah, because it does have me listed as guest.
Yeah, because you're a guest here, but I don't know why, because the live stream chat's for everybody. I'll figure it out for next time. I'll see if I can.
And just so you know, I've been studying up. I've been like listening and watching to a lot of Bob's Burgers lately because I can't handle reality. Like, my solace has been like UFOs and Bob's Burgers.
That's what I've been doing.
Sims.
How do you think I found Lily? Like, I've
And
been watching
you
Kerry
missed
Cassidy.
it. The sale is over. The Sims sale is over. It ended on the 10th.
I know, but I had so much going on. I was like, if I download The Sims, I'm really never going to get Dr. Hassan. And once I get him done, my life will be complete, and I can play Sims all I want.
Oh, I know, but you just cost yourself $1,000.
The next sale.
Okay.
Next
All
sale.
right.
All right, Lily.
So, not sure. There's people are going to hear that, and they're, it's general. It's just general.
Right.
So, is there specific information you're
That
getting?
is a good following, Bugsy,
I
for
know
somebody
at
who
least
came
one
out in
other person
2020
who considers themselves
to build up that
I'm not
fast.
going to use their name.
I'm surprised she
in
doesn't have
touch
more.
with what they call the Alliance. And when you're in touch with ETs,
I even hate her
because
mug.
I am and have had contact.
Did you
with many
see where
different
somebody up in the
kinds of
chat said
ETs
her
as
mug's
well.
as big as her head?
But everyone, I think, gets
No,
maybe
it's like a
different
Steven
pictures in
Crowder
their mind,
mug.
different information. You, in a sense, you're a vessel, a filter. So your filter will come in through your filter. Just everyone's unique that way.
She
So
looks like she needs to get a trim on
if
her
you can,
ratty ends of her hair.
is there any specific something that stands out to you that you had an interaction? I'm assuming you're talking to particular beings, and whether they, you know, they're known to you, like some people go one-on-one and they say their name and so on and so forth. And others, not so much, it sounds like.
Was that a timeout? Or were you just clapping for her?
I was clapping for the cat. Sometimes the cat comes when I clap. I'm sorry.
I thought you were like, time out, Shelby, time out. It's me over here. Oh, that's for
Oh,
Squeaks.
no. I'm sorry. That was for Squeaks.
I thought you were like, time out. I need to say something. Time out, time out.
But I'm not going to front load this situation. So I just want you to maybe be as
Carrie
specific
doesn't want to
as
go
possible
first. She's like, you tell me
because when
what you're
somebody
experiencing
says
and I'll
they
tell you the
they
truth.
channel,
I'm not
they're
going
in
to front
touch with
load you.
ETs. In my view, okay, just for the purposes of this discussion, as far as I'm concerned, everyone's in touch with ETs because we are ETs in essence. And so we have their DNA.
Do you hear that,
and
Mina?
They don't
You
know
just
it.
took
Okay,
out
a lot
part of your
people are in
DNA when you let
denial.
them
They
take
would
that wood
never
out of your foot.
admit
Hope
to
you're
it.
happy
They'd
with
never
yourself.
even think about it unless, you know, they had some kind of awakening experience and so on. So I want to give you a chance to kind of prove to the audience that you have real contact and that your contact actually tells you things. And so maybe you could tell us anecdotes, like where you said something and then it happened 3 months later or whatever the hell.
Yes.
So something like that.
Certainly, sure. Okay, and I can go ahead and share a little bit more specifics about one of the beings. The first being that contacted me, the light blue one, and then I'll go into some of the specific information that they've been giving me. So the first being that I met and who a lot of my contact experiences have been with is,
which nobody
like
can
I said,
verify.
this light blue Andromedan being. She goes by Talia, is her name. And after this sort of training period that she put me through for about the first year of our contact experiences, where she was kind of teaching me the basics about everything, I would later discover that she was actually me from the future. so that's one of my main
Talia
contacts.
is me
it's
from the
actually another
future.
version of me. I also have, well, maybe I won't share that part publicly. So going into some of the more specifics,
very Earth name.
The information has really ramped up for me over the last few months. Really, back in September or October, I received about 5 pages of information from these beings about things
Hunter, can you chill?
Was going to be coming. Things that was going to be coming, and so this was before. I kind of wish that I had it like pulled out right now because I forget what
you
some
weren't
of it is, but
ready
I'll try
for
to
Kerry
remember it.
Cassidy.
So this was before the election, and they told me that Trump would be winning the election. And they said that they basically described him as kind of like him and some of these other figures as kind of like Trojan horses that are coming in to
fuck off, Lily,
to help break down all of the old systems. And so that obviously that came true. I was kind of afraid to post that whenever I first got it because that's kind of a,
that's the first message she got and posted.
Thing. And they said, "Don't worry, it will age well."
She knew
this
that
is
would
what's
take
going
off.
to happen. And and they can be using like looking glass technology or something to foresee this. I'm not sure exactly. They're contacting me from the future, back in time. It gets kind of a little weird, but so that was one of the things that they shared with me. And go ahead.
Dapper Gander has a very good, very long, well-researched article about Project Looking Glass on his Patreon. Let me find you the link for his Patreon and you can post it in there. But I didn't read the whole thing, but it is a very complex, like, difficult to understand thing. And, and also you have an I have to do it in the other browser. And also, an opportunity to plug a well-respected researcher.
Oh, 100%. They do really good work. I don't think I haven't read much about Looking Glass technology in a long time. Kind of because I think when you start looking at this stuff, like, the basics and you watch this stuff, and then it just becomes like noise in the background to your head. You're like, oh, Looking Glass technology. Oh, MK. You know what I mean? Like it's just language they use, words, and it's all bullshit,
Yeah.
Now I'm curious about it too. I'll have to go back and look at their page.
Well, I'm going to put his main link.
Post it in the chat there, and then I'll share it so everybody can see. Even though they can't see your comments, when I post it up on the screen, then they can see it. So weird. I'll fix that next week. Hey, we figured out this week that we can chat before we go live, which is amazing, before it hits, the countdown. So we're coming along, folks. I figured out, rather. Steph's not in charge of tech.
Okay. I got it. I got it right here. Sorry.
There you go. You changed your name, Spence. That ends part 1 of this episode. The following is a friend of the show and a podcast we think you will all enjoy. Check them out.
The Vaccination Station is a registered non-profit organization that promotes vaccines, universal healthcare, and critical thinking. It provides materials to support amateur and professional vaccine advocates, including a wide range of properly referenced infographics addressing topical issues in health and science. The Vaccination Station also produces resources to help people improve their critical thinking skills and interpret information in a more structured, rational way. Finally, the Vaccination Station has a podcast where you can hear interviews with doctors, scientists, authors, and parents. If you'd like to be interviewed, whether to share your experiences or promote your own content, please get in touch.
I don't need new tires, but stay tuned for the next episode.
We're going to have to be smart. We're going to have to be strategic. We're going to have to be aggressive.
I'm an alpha guy.
I'll flip a table every time you aren't getting by.
Let's go. Just push.
It's all psychological warfare.
I'm not part of QAnon.
We know what they are doing.
For Trump. Ba-da-da-da-da.
If shit goes wrong, I will literally have to leave the country.
Stop that.
I'll land my initial plane.
Okay, high five. This isn't the hi-fi show.
Good night. Nighty night.